You know, it's kind of weird that they went with the anime look in this movie, but considering that Alita was a cyborg and obviously was made by nerds, and nerds are often, you know, anime or manga lovers, it kind of makes sense. My name is Daidarius and welcome to the review of Alita Battle Angel. So Alita Battle Angel is the adaptation of the manga called Battle Angel Alita. So they just switched around the names there. Good for you. And funny enough, it's a manga I have never read before, even though that I clearly love manga. I read a lot of manga. I mean, I don't read a lot. I mean, I'm not city as sweet, so. But I do read a decent amount. However, this is Hollywood's yet again attempt to make a manga adaptation, and, well, we get to that later on. This movie takes place in the year 2500 something, and a lot of shit has happened. All we know is that a big war called the Fall has occurred, and now everyone lives in the bottom section of the world, and there's only one city flying in the sky. It's kind of like the setting of Final Fantasy VII, if you've ever played that one. It's basically that, actually. You follow Dr. Dyson Ido, who finds Alita, or what's left of her, and brings her back to his facility because he is a mechanical robot engineer something. He recreates Alita, and now she wakes up in a new body that she doesn't know. In fact, she doesn't know anything because she has amnesia, because that's the greatest way to introduce the story. But anyway, she has amnesia. She quickly forms her father-daughter relationship with Dr. Ido, and she experiences this world for the first time with us. Alita quickly befriends this kid called Hugo, and then together they run around in the underground world trying to piece together what her past was. And then a lot of shit happens, but basically this movie is about Alita trying to find her place in this world and trying to find out what her past is. That's pretty much how I can sum up this movie, because holy shit does a lot of things happen. So what do I like about the movie? Well, first of all, I like the visual style of this movie. The visual style is almost like an anime or manga coming to life, with the rainbow colors and the creative settings. And also just Alita herself is, as anyone has noticed, she is what an anime character would look like in real life. And it doesn't really bother you that much that she looks that different from everyone else, because they clearly show that she is a cyborg. She is not human per se. I also really like the action scenes, especially the fight scenes, because here this movie really shows the influence that the Japanese manga and anime could have on the Western movie business, especially the fight sequences, because if there's something that the Japanese has figured out, it is fight sequences, especially make them entertaining and flamboyant and just pure awesome. And it really translates well into this movie, but probably only because that most of the people doing the fights are CGI characters. I also really like this world that's being established. It feels like it has a rich established history to it. You kind of get a glimpse of it every time there is some exposition dump or what story the background tells in this movie. This movie also has a lot of great ideas, especially coming to what it means not to be human, because there's not a thing that this movie tackles, but more about, does your past define you? And what is your loot in this world? And I think it tackles that pretty well. Again, I haven't read the manga, so I don't know if that was the theme in the manga, but I'm pretty sure it is. But it's just Alita trying to do what she was meant to do, what she was built to do. She's trying to find her purpose in life. The only downfall is that no other character has that ambition. So it's only her, apparently, in this world that has that ambition. So, but at least she has it. There are also a few key scenes where the acting is actually really, really great. The only fortunate thing is that it is only Alita who can make those great acting, or her, actress. But a few times it really hits the nail on the head. And I appreciate that, especially in a movie like this, because this movie has a lot of flaws, but I'll get to that in a second. What this movie has most going for it is that when you get to the second and then third act, It is really damn entertaining. It knows exactly what it is, and it shows especially some creative way to tell a fight scene. And even though it's nothing new for people who have watched anime or read manga before, it is new in the Western cinematic world. We haven't really seen things done like this before. So yes, I can recognize a lot of these things, but I do really appreciate the Western take on it, because it's like two worlds meeting together and creating something more, something better. Now that being said, I need to address the cons in this movie, and I know there was a pretty short prose, but I don't really have much to tell you. But I can't really go into detail. I need to go to the cons first, so yeah, we need to jump into that. First of all, the first 15 or 20 minutes of this movie is utter shit, and I really mean shit. The acting is bad. The dialogue is extremely clunky. The pacing is all over the fucking place. And here's what I mean. The movie uses the first of its 15 to 20 minutes runtime to just dump everything on you. And I mean the whole world. Lisa being founded and built, what she's gonna do while she's living at Dr. Ido. There are some killer hunters or murder hunters or some kind of hunters in this. There is a new sport you need to know about. There are some currencies. There's this floating city above you. There is this vast junkyard world beneath you, or where they live. And this movie never ever stops at a scene and let it play out and lets the audience just have a bit of a breather, just a little pause before we need to jump to the next scene to get more exposition dumped. It is edited like a music video. It is that damn fast. You are not more than a few minutes at each scene and you need to jump to the next. And I know that some scenes are no longer than a few seconds, but this, with the amount of exposition that dumping on you, is just too much. You don't connect with Alita, you don't connect with Ido, you don't connect with Fugo, you don't connect with anyone, you don't even really connect with this world. It is only when this movie slows down and gives Alita a purpose after she has done that sport thing and trying to find out who she really is, it's only then you're allowed to attach yourself to these characters. Only then. The story up until that point is nonsensical. Which brings me to the issue of adapting a manga or an anime to the big screen. Now, I'm not saying that can't be done, I'm not saying that it can't be done well. However, there are some tropes that works in the manga and anime that doesn't really work in live action. For example, those first 15 to 20 minutes could work wonders as the first two episodes of an anime. That is what this medium does really well. It's just dumping exposition on you in these quick takes because it is animated. It has a different flow to it. But in live action, it doesn't really work. It doesn't really help that most of the dialogue is cheesy as hell. I mean, it is really cheesy. They are forcing romantic relationships or conflicts on you that just doesn't really seem genuine. It's just there to move the plot forward, but not to do anything with the characters. Everything is just at the surface level. There's no really deep meaning to any of it. And then you get to the action, and I know what Christopher Waltz is capable of. I have seen the Tarantino movies that he is in, and he really knows how to be a good actor. He knows to sell a character. Whereas in here, he doesn't really give a shit. Yeah, he might have fun with the character sometimes, but for the most time, it's just a half-assed acting job that he's doing. And when your best actor in the movie doesn't give a shit, then the rest of the cast doesn't even give a shit. The only actor who's kind of giving a shit is Mahershala Ali. And not even he is giving that great of a performance. So the acting is just, it is okay when it's best and just pure garbage when it's worst. Which brings me to my third point, which is the story. The story has some very weird priorities. This short story at its core should have been focusing on Alita as a character and her character growth and her character journey through this ordeal of not knowing or remembering who you are and being put in this shitty situation which is beneath this holy city something. However, this movie wants to focus on so much that you just jump from plot point to plot point with no correlation, and everything just feels like filler instead of just being this character piece that could have been so great. And again, I haven't read the manga, but I'm pretty sure, or I'm gonna take a guess, that the manga is more of a character study than, you know, plot point, go at it. And this clearly is the first entry, or they are trying to make this first entry in a franchise. They want to make more movies. This movie ends with it leading up to a second one. So they clearly want to tell more stories. Maybe they want to tell the whole story. So if that was the plan, then move some of this shit to the next movie. And just focus on her, focus on the relationship between her and the people around her. Focus maybe on Ali's character and that ordeals that she put her through. And then let that be it. Don't focus on more than that. Hell, they even kind of breeze off that fact that she is amazing at battling people. And I don't mean with weapons. No, she's just kicking people's ass left, right, and center. But no, that's just a program you instantly remembers. But enough of that. Now we need to go back to the motorsport, even though that we haven't even focused on the motorsport. But clearly, the motorsport is a big deal in this movie. And unfortunately, that means that this movie, when it gets to the ending, wants to be heroic. It wants to be this moment where Alita finally embraces who she really are. It's just... It didn't really hit me at all. I mean, it did nothing for me. Because I wasn't really that much attached to Alita. Yes, I did appreciate her in some aspects, but too much was focusing on her being able to kick a lot of ass and then trying to figure out some relationship stuff with this guy. But that's pretty much it. And since she's doing everything with such ease, you don't really feel that she has proven that much. Hell, she's only really dated once in this movie. That's in the end of the first act and the beginning of the second, I think. So all in all, what you get with this movie is that you get some interesting visuals, you get an interesting world, and you get a special character. Let's say that. You get a character that you haven't really seen before. I mean, she is an anime in real life, and she has the potential to have a great story being told around her. But you also have extreme pacing issues, especially in the first act. You have some prioritizing issues, you have too much shit crammed into this movie, and this movie is pretty fucking crammed. You have bad acting, and you have bad storytelling, but if you can get through the first act, the rest of the movie is pretty entertaining. It won't bore you, you won't sit there and thinking you're wasting your time. You will only think that you're wasting your time in the first act, but in the second and third act, the movie picks up and it's actually quite a joy to watch. So, I will say that Alita Battle Angel, you should watch it in cinema, entertainment guaranteed. But only if you get through the first act, so you need to live with that. So, Alita Battle Angel, have you seen it? What do you think about it? And if you read the manga, how do you think it holds up to the manga series? Whatever you think, comment below with me your thoughts. And as always, until I see you in the next video, remember to stay awesome. Bye! Man, she can really make some big dog eyes if you really want something. Holy shit, I couldn't say no to that.